I will keep on saying it until, like I said, something changes. Easily, the next, shall we say, successor to Boris Johnson is either going to be Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak. It is going to be one of those two, unless something drastic happens, as I keep on saying, in like the next 6 to 8 months, whatever it is between the next, how long shall we say Boris's time may indeed been in, shall we say, number 10. It's fairly questionable, but we'll see what happens. So unless something drastic happens with those two, we can safely say that their ascent is indeed assured. But I hear you say some of you like the Grand National, and of course at the Grand National there's that grand tradition of maybe putting a fiver on a tenner on like 100 to 1 long shot you may infamously put on, and you hear stories of people who did that and won like hundreds of thousands of pounds from just that one-off random bet. And in terms of that sort of 100 to 1 long shot, if you really wanted to do that, my money would be on Matt Hancock. Matt Hancock is that 100 to 1 long shot. And in terms of politicians, I would say he's more 10 to 1 shot, whereas probably Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss are probably like, 1-on-1 or like 1-2 maybe. Matt Hancock has been, shall we say, trying to make his way back into the limelight because he wants that position. He wants to be Prime Minister. And we could be very well looking maybe at a potential revival in the next, coming weeks of Matt Hancock as he starts to rebuild his profile and start to put out his pitch for him being the next leader of the Conservative Party. So who knows? Maybe my predictions of Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak could be completely wrong, and it is indeed even the long shot that somehow comes out and wins this particular race. So let's dive into this and find out why Matt Hancock is now back in the limelight. And of course, before we do that, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below is a link to my Patreon page, the YouTube subscription button as well. And of course, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way, even if it is just clicking the like and share button. So let's dive into this. So this comes from The Guardian with the title of, "Why is Matt Hancock back in the limelight? Because penance is just a word now these days." It seems like only yesterday that we are enjoying all those memes and videos parodying the decline and fall of Matt Hancock. The incredible brevity of all his time in exile seems to have strained all the laws of PR physics and suggests that the fallen minister still enjoys support at the highest levels of government. In a very hasty press call, a mea culpa of the front of a bush, his resignation speech was haphazardly choreographed, and time-compressed media age seems to have eaten away at our powers of recall. Public figures are sacrificed daily to the gods of Twitter. News items like that at their peak command the collective consciousness very quickly and then disappear. Just remember Wallpapergate, or many people don't. The idea of penance, the time spent away from ordinary life in repentance for one's sins, exists in all major religions. The Indian spiritual leader, I hope I say this right, Mahabhaha, said, "One penance is carefully practiced, it inevitably results in the relocation of the desired moods and the thought of conduct, and makes one amenable to the life of service. Different faiths prescribe different levels of self-sacrifice according to the seriousness of the sin." Hancock, for his part, had spent just a mere 6 months as a backbencher, and he's also reportedly to have also stayed in at least an £87 a night hotel in Montreux. And is this, of course, enough time to atone for, obviously, the grope that shook the cabinets? Of course, the great expensive scandal of 2009 for the ever eroded the idea of politicians as high credible public servants, replacing it with the image of Sir Peter Vickers' Duck House. We were as far away from those days as John Puffelow affair, when the scandal could truly bring down a politician. Hancock would never be content tending a market garden in Norfolk. The world has always changed a great deal, though. Paradoxically, though, through online platforms where he received most of the ridicule, he is now in the range of tools that social media makes available that will now enable Matt Hancock to assert his best route forward. Having conviction, staying in the fast and loose with messaging, and saturating the media with his reliable smile will, in my honest opinion, be enough to bring him back into the fold of the mainstream politics. Hancock's affair might seem a very dimly remembered peccadillo in the Tory annals, and of course, gone are the days when a high profile public figure outed by a red top could buy time in the Priory. The sentimental analysis can even help decide between a social media post of the toad licking and, of course, the beautiful dessert sunset, to which we'll see which resonates with the public. And best days, I've rooted my life out of the body hallucinogenic experience. The careful measured clicks will decide Hancock's fate. But who is behind this resurrection? Given the current cabinet's churn, it would not be surprising if Boris Johnson were trying to expedite the rehabilitation of one of his loyal generals. Even when the Prime Minister, as a backer, is fully recovered, will Matt Hancock be able to believe unflinchingly in his own fitness and purpose? The swiftness and intensity of Hancock's comeback demonstrates his belief in this is very necessary. Today's dispersal media will give Hancock's camp one great benefit. It will allow him to stress test a number of options. Part of this exercise will be gauging the strength of hostility against him. The response will shape his strategy. Although you see the different tones being trailed, the triumphant and grovelling apologetic tones on the BBC and Radio Times, and of course the scrappingly indulgent tense and defensiveness on Preston on the 1st of December, the right cocktail and combination will create a very good charity campaign, such as these running now on dyslexia awareness, will suffice to ensure that no path is now barred to him. He could even become Prime Minister. For the plucky media strategist, the success has a potential to become a story itself. If there is one thing common folks love, it's the change of the Hancockian proportions, yet he won't necessarily do it for free. Whoever is supporting the return of Hancock will anticipate future rewards. Success depends on whether Hancock can still play ball, and for all the PR advice one can buy from the source of party ranks, the success or even failure of his rehabilitation will ultimately depend on whether he can regain his footing and project effectiveness as a politician. In all faiths, penance is meant to result in a personality reset, remaining the individual form of life of arrogance and sin in one characterized by humility and public servant stumble. Whether they recover or not is more than just a matter of convincing others they have changed. It is about what you have learned in that desert to heart. So I've said this before. I think Matt Hancock will do it. I think at the next Tory leadership contest, you're going to see Matt Hancock in there. He's going to put his hat in the ring. No, I really do truly think that. And I think this is the Grand National shot. You know, this is the 100-to-1 long shot that you see at the Grand National every year. Every so often, making a spectacular upset every 5 to 10 years or so, and they end up winning. Is Matt Hancock potentially about to do that? Or will, as suggested here, will he be falling at the first hurdle? And for that, ladies and gentlemen, you definitely have to have a good crystal ball. And even I can't predict how this is going to work out for him. But it is almost certainly, ladies and gentlemen, that we indeed have not seen the last of Matt Hancock, and even could maybe one day be seeing Prime Minister Hancock in number 10. Stranger things have happened, people. Stranger things have indeed happened. So with that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.